Hello everyone, my name's Hooten and welcome to the GenX Analytics YouTube channel. Today we're going to be going over another infographic that we've got on our Twitter, and it's going to be the top play to earn projects throughout the crypto space. I've picked out two projects for today, Star Atlas and Untamed Isles. So both of these projects I've actually looked at as well before even this topic came up for the infographic, so it's nice to see them both in there. So I'm excited to actually talk about both of these today. Okay, so the first project I want to talk about is Untamed Isles. This is a project that looks very interesting to me. It's basically a company that's building their own sort of metaverse. It looks a little bit like Pokemon in a way, with the way that they're doing it. It's like I'd say it's a mix between Pokemon and RuneScape, and you'll know why as I talk more in depth about this game. So the game is being created by Fat Loot Studios, and it is their first project that they're making. The team is based in New Zealand, and there's a team of 20 that are currently developing the game. So the game is described as a turn-based MMORPG. The game is also open world, which means that you can team up with your friends or just random players that you meet throughout the world, and you can breed, you can do gathering missions together, you can do PvP, PvE, dungeons. You can do all that sort of stuff within this game. In terms of the teaming system that they've currently got, you can team up with up to 2 players at the moment to form a group, and the group can do basically what I just mentioned before. Another cool thing about what the grouping system does is it looks like it links your quests together. So when you do some of the main storyline, you can complete it with your friends, and it sort of like syncs the quest together. So rather than you having to wait for your friend to kill 5 wolves, for example, like you do on some MMOs. So what I like about the group system is when you team up with your 2 friends, it links your some of the quests together, like your main storyline. So rather than some MMOs, it's like you're having to constantly wait for your friends to catch up with you. If you do it all together as part of a group, then all the things that you do to complete certain parts of the missions, it all stacks up. So it means you can sort of complete the storyline. And so they also have a couple of different areas as well in terms of the open world. One of the main areas that you're going to be finding yourself in once you've gotten through the tutorial is going to be something called the wild area. Now the wild area is a place where only certain items can be found, so you have to sort of venture out into these different areas to find certain items that you need for the game. But a cool system about the wild area is that if you die within that area, there's a chance that you're going to lose the stuff that you've collected. So it brings about a bit of an aspect of survival to the game as well. Like if you die, there are consequences for doing so. Another thing about this area is that you could be challenged by another player and you're not allowed to decline. So if you get caught out in the wilderness, there's no running away basically. If I catch up to you, you better hope that you've got a better team than what I've got. So in terms of the game and its PvP aspect, they're planning on bringing out a bit of an esports series as well, which I really like, because there's a lot of games like Call of Duty, League of Legends, Halo that are all have their own sort of competitive scenes, and it'd be nice to see some sort of blockchain based games as well to also join into the scene, because esports is huge. So having something like Untamed Isles having its own esports sector as well, you can really build up a fan base and even take some of the fan base from other games that are maybe similar. So you might be wondering, well, how are they going to fund the cash prizes for something as big as an esports tournament? They're planning on funding this by using their in-game revenue streams, such as the marketplace. Whenever something's sold on the marketplace, they got income from that. And they also have something called an auction house, which I think is the like an in-game marketplace where you can sell your things as well, and they're also going to take a portion of the fees that are generated from that to put towards these cash prizes too. So basically, the more people progress through the game and the more people sell things and transfer to other players, the bigger the cash prize is going to be, so it's going to attract more people. Another good thing is a large majority of these monsters and items that you find throughout the world can also be tokenized and then sold on the marketplace. So you can earn, so there is a play to earn aspect to the game. If you're able to gather the good materials and craft the good items, you can tokenize these items and then sell them to other players that are maybe starting out, or they don't quite have enough time to do all the gathering and that sort of thing. So I'm going to talk about a couple of features as well that they also have. So they plan on holding weekly seasonal PvP events, dungeons and raids, so you can group up with a couple of players or friends, and you can do these dungeons and raids and complete them to earn items and rewards and all that sort of thing. In terms of gathering, which is what I spoke about a little bit about earlier, they have a fishing system that they recently just did a test for. So if you were part of the Discord server, you could sign up to this test and provide them with feedback, and they were also giving out rewards to players that were helping them out. So it says they have bug hunting, and I don't know whether that means you are collecting things like spiders in the game and having a collection, or bug hunting as finding issues with the game and providing feedback for them. I'm not quite sure, but take it how you will. They have something called room farming, so I'm assuming that's some sort of enchantments you can put on your equipment. And they also have berry and fruit farming as well. Another feature is they have a proximity voice chat, which I really like. I've been playing New World a lot recently, and New World also has proximity chat, and it's quite funny when you're doing things like wars or you're just exploring the world and you can hear someone just in the corner of your screen. Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot of cool clips and stuff that can come out of proximity voice chat. I've always liked proximity voice chat. It's just something that a lot of games don't seem to have. They plan on bringing out daily and weekly quests for you to complete as well for rewards. So another feature that they have is they have a dynamic weather system, which is something that's really cool. I've got a couple of clips that I've put into the video so you can see for yourself just in the background. They've got things like rain, wind, fog, sunny, light rain as well. It's another one, but yeah, it's really nice and it adds a bit more of an immersion to the game. This is something that a lot of players are going to like as well. They have player housing, which means that you can basically find items throughout the world or craft them yourself and sort of build up your own house, and you can use the house. So it says on the website that the plots of housing are quite rare, but if you do manage to pick up one of these plots, then you do get very rare perks that help you throughout the game. It says that the perks here include a storage, some extra breeding pits, passive training, passive gem collection as well, and these perks can also be shared with other players if you so choose. Just a quick thing about the breeding pits, you might be wondering, you're not really mentioned much about that. But yeah, the breeding system is basically when you collect these monsters throughout the game, you can breed them and start creating more with some slightly different traits and stuff. Yeah, it's a really cool system, and you've seen a couple of other games have it as well, like Axie Infinity also has a breeding system. The monsters look really cool as well. I've also got them with a clip so you can see that in the background as well. Yeah, the monsters look really nice. I'm excited to actually get my hand on a couple of these myself. So before the game actually releases, they plan to release a book series as well, just to sort of go in more depth to do with the lore of the game. The book series, the first book, plans to release before the actual release of the game. So it gives players like a chance to read a little bit about the lore and sort of get hyped for this upcoming game. So in terms of the social numbers, they have a Discord channel with 10,000 members. I'll leave a link to that in the description below so you can check it out for yourself. And their Twitter has about 5,000 followers as well. Another quick thing about them that I forgot to mention is they also have an NFT collection that is tied to that game. It's called Guppy Gang. Now I personally bought one myself because it looked pretty cool. But yeah, they plan to use this NFT collection as part of like an avatar type thing. So I own a Guppy Gang and I can use it as like a profile photo, but it also gives me like a couple of badges that I can use in the game, and I think they're planning on doing some airdrops for people that hold it as well. So that's all I'm going to talk about for Untamed Isles today. Hopefully you guys have not heard of that before and it gives you a bit of insight into what this game is actually producing. So I do like that they've got 20 members in their team and it is growing as well. It sort of makes the development process a little bit quicker, which is always nice for the people that are waiting for the game. Alright, so the second project I want to talk about is Star Atlas. Now this is also, like I said in the intro, it's another project that I saw and I've done a bit of research into it myself and it looks really interesting. I've always personally liked space games, and I've always thought it'd be cool if I could actually earn currency through playing these sort of games. I played Elite Dangerous quite a lot. I've spent many hours playing that and also live streaming it as well. And yeah, it was just something that I really enjoyed, and also No Man's Sky I played as well. They never had like a system where I could actually earn money. I was just trading my time for fun. But yeah, playing these sort of play to earn games, I can actually earn currency and money through playing it, which is nice. So when you land on the web page of Star Atlas, you can see that you've got this sort of experience. I do recommend you go and check it out yourself. Basically, as you scroll through with the mouse wheel, it sort of gives you a bit of an idea about the world itself, but I really like the look of this. Like, you can see the spaceships flying around when I scroll in and out. You scroll further down and I will show you. So there's things you can actually click on yourself. So when you click on it, you can see some really nice artwork here. This is a mining site that you can actually build in game, or there's going to be plans where you can build it in game, and then this is going to produce ores and things for you to sell to other players. But yeah, as you scroll through, you can see you've got the different races there. You've got a choice between 3 factions, and I'm just going to quickly talk about that now. So Star Atlas is a virtual gaming metaverse based in the year 2620, so quite far ahead. In the distant future, 3 major factions have emerged. So you have the Mud territory governed by humankind, which you can see on just the right here. You have the Oni region as a consortium of alien races, which you can see on the left. Imagine playing as something like that. It's very interesting. And then you also have the Uster sector, or Uster sector, controlled by sentient androids, which is in the middle. Now personally, the faction I've chosen is the Uster faction. It was the faction that it wasn't the best in terms of the amount of money that's involved. So they have some statistics on the website about the amount of money in terms of like millions of dollars of assets that are in the game. I didn't want to choose the one that had the most in terms of assets. I wanted to choose one that was sort of mid-range. And at the time of me choosing a faction, Uster seemed to be, you know, the faction that had that. So I decided to go for one that's bang in the middle. Plus the artwork for these look really cool as well. I didn't just want to play it as another human like I do in all the other space type games. I wanted to play as something a little bit different. So yeah, a little bit more about it. So it says, you, a faction citizen of Star Atlas, will have the ability to influence the outcome of this intergalactic conflict while creating the opportunity to earn rewards for your contributions. So there it mentions the play to earn aspect they have in the game. I've written a little bit more about that I'll talk about just a little bit later on in the video. In terms of their team, they have over 40 people working for them, so they've got more than double the output of Untamed Isles at the moment. But there is a lot more. This is a much more known project, I think, so it makes sense. They also have some job openings on the website as well. So if you think you fit a role and you're looking for a job within crypto, then check out Star Atlas. So the game itself is being developed on the Unreal Engine 5 Nanite, and I've done a little bit of research into Nanite, and I think it helps with terms of like rendering and polygons and stuff like that. I don't know much about game engines, but I know that the Unreal Engine 5 is quite a new one, and I think the Nanite edition is even newer, so it's nice that they're creating a modern game like this. I'm assuming the graphics are going to be really nice, which a lot of blockchain games seem to lack. So this is currently based on the Solana blockchain, and I think the reason they chose this is because the Solana blockchain can handle 50,000 transactions a second, which means that any sort of transactions that get made throughout the game, whether it's the marketplace and exchanging things to other players, so this allows all the in-game transactions to happen in real time. So having something like this just eliminates the need for like a server on the back end. So I would say that the game combines strategy in terms of like building and city building and mining rigs and all that sort of stuff in your ships. That's sort of the strategy side to it. An exploration side, which means you can hop in the ship yourself and explore different planets. It's up to you where you want to go. I mean, it is just, you know, the universe, the space, nice. It is just the universe or space, so you have the freedom to go wherever you like. And the third thing I'd say is flight simulator type game as well, because it's a bit like Elite Dangerous by the sound of it, the way that they're going to do it. So you're going to be sat in your ship, you're going to have a throttle that you can use. You'll be able to do this on either a mouse and keyboard, or they've also mentioned that they will do a VR headset, so you can have a nice headset on so you can look around your ship, which it really makes me excited when I talk about things like this, because I would love to be able to sit down with a VR headset on. I have a throttle for one hand, I have a joystick for the other, and I'm just flying my ship like that. I think that's really cool to have something like that. Maybe I'm a bit of a nerd for that sort of thing. So a lot of these ships that they're planning on bringing out are crew operated, so you're not going to be the only person in the ship. So in terms of exploration, the player will have a crew manned ship, and you can take you and your crew to different planets and set up mining stations. These mining stations can extract resources from the world. Only certain worlds will have some of these resources, so you can sort of build a bit of a monopoly around some of the rarer resources of the planet. These resources you can then sell on the player market, so when people are looking for certain resources that they might not have on their planet, they're going to have to come to you for some others. So in terms of the actual game development, at the moment the game isn't out yet, but they are planning on bringing out a play to earn mini game in the meantime. So basically they had like a phase 1 of funding, so you could buy different assets and ships that they had on the marketplace. So a lot of players bought these different ships, and I was also looking to buy one myself, but the price is quite expensive at the moment, in my opinion, or in terms of, you know, the money that I have. It's a little bit expensive, so I'm waiting for the price to come down, or waiting for sort of another sale round. So the assets that you bought in this funding round you can basically use in this mini game and earn some currency through that. But I do want to talk a little bit more about the game. Now this is another thing that was really nice. They have 3 sectors in the game. In terms of the sectors, it's basically like zones, like safe zones, medium zones, and high risk zones. But what they've called them safe zone. This is the place where players can get used to basic functions in the game, such as flying your ship, learning how to trade, just learning the basics of the game without having any risk of losing anything. They have sort of the medium zone, which is what they've called it. It's a place controlled by mercenaries. When players die here, it doesn't matter, your assets aren't destroyed or anything like that. So you can still explore. I imagine it's more dangerous, so there's maybe more combat, but if you do die, then there's no worries about losing anything. And then the final zone is the Wild Frontier Zone. I like the name of that. But yeah, it basically means that the Wild Zone is controlled by no one, which means when players die here, their asset or your ship is split into different parts. Some of the parts will have been destroyed, and so you'll get scrap in return for, you know, for those parts. You also, if any crew members did manage to escape before the ship blew up, you will also get them as an asset that you can then use for a new ship. So I imagine there's going to be some kind of stats around the crew members eventually as the game develops, and maybe the crew will have levels and they may be better in some areas. That's sort of what I'm thinking in my head. I'm assuming they're going to make something like that. So yeah, basically means that if you die in the Wild Frontier, then some parts of your ship will be destroyed. So you have to make sure that you're well equipped to jump into these sort of areas. Now on their website, they have a ton of professions that you can choose to play in the game. I'm not going to go through all of them because I don't have enough time to go through all of them, and it might get a little bit mundane for me to talk about it. But basically, I'm just going to list off maybe the first 10 professions that I've got, and also just before I start, some of these professions also require the right crew and components or ships as well. So a couple of the professions I've got are transport, rescue, repair, construction, refueling, mining, salvaging, entrepreneur, CEO, broker, bounty hunter. The list goes on. So yeah, if you just go over to their website, you will see it all on there, and you can see the amount of professions that they have. They do have a lot of professions, and I think it's quite an ambitious game, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of these as well. I know that when I played Elite Dangerous, you could sort of do these professions as well. There were certain ships that were more tailored to certain things. You could have a ship that was really fast and had more gun slots, so you could go bounty hunting. You had a couple of other ships that were really good for mining, that could equip mining lasers, and it had a big cargo hold. So I imagine these are the sort of correct components and crew that you might need, just based off of Elite Dangerous. So the crew members as well also have their own profession. I'm going to list off a couple of those as well. So they can have the role as pilot, which I find interesting. It means you can have someone fly for you, or maybe a co-pilot. An engineer, repairer, scanner, scientist, gunner, mercenary, rescue, a power manager, a janitor, a cargo foreman, a military commander, military general, and there's a couple of others on there as well. Again, you'll see that on the website. So they plan on bringing out a guild system of Star Atlas as well, which means that players can combine resources and create their own factions. And when you create these guilds, it means you can build entire space cities, and its economy can be managed by the leaders. Which means if you are part of a guild, you have the option to build something called a space city, and the space city is just controlled by the leaders of the guild. So what it essentially means is that players can take over parts of space, and it means they can also control any resources that might be in the planets within. So the players that own these space cities can impose their own laws and taxes, so that players that aren't a part of this guild will have to pay a tax for maybe entering the sector, or a tax for using their auction house or something like that. I find it really interesting because they can also enact fines as well. So say if you break part of a law, whether you kill a ship or you steal something, there are going to be custom fines and laws to determine the penalty that you might have for something like that. So all of this, they've basically called the guild system a decentralized autonomous corporation. So I would highly recommend also going through their white paper. It sounds a bit boring when you say the word white paper. A lot of people don't want to read through it, but this is more of an in-depth look at the game and the things they plan on bringing out. So all the information I'm talking about now can also be found on this white paper. It gives so much depth to what I'm talking about, and I would mention it in the video, but the video is going to be over 30 minutes long just for this, so I will talk about this more in depth. So Star Atlas have two tokens. They have the Star token, and they also have the Polis token. Polis is the token that the decentralized autonomous corporations are going to be using to impose these laws and fines and their own taxes within their space city. So the main token of Star Atlas is called Atlas. Atlas is currently ranked 265 on the CoinMarketCap list of cryptocurrencies. In terms of the social numbers, they have a Discord with over 108,000 members at the moment. So you can see it's a massive game, and a lot of people might have heard about it already. I feel like I was quite late onto it, but yeah, 108,000 members. But honestly, even with 108,000 members in the Discord, there's going to be many more players playing, I imagine. But because this game is going to be so big, because it's in space, you're probably not going to notice too much of it being crowded. Their Twitter currently has 218,000 followers as well. So as you can see, I'm really excited for something like this to come out. I've always wanted more of a blockchain game over the past couple of months, as more and more of the metaverse news and stuff is coming out. I'm a gamer myself, so when I see something like this of potential opportunities of me being able to earn money through playing these games, it really incentivizes me to actually continue playing their game over time. I'm excited for some of the interactions that I'm going to see through this as well. You know, I'm going to be planning on getting a VR headset so I can fully immerse myself. They have something called head tracking as well, or eye tracking as well. Alright, so that's going to be it for this video. I hope you enjoyed the discussion to do with Untamed Isles and Star Atlas. Those are two games that I'm very interested in playing myself and also investing in. If you agree as well and you also like the look of these games, then post it in the comments. When the games come out, I'd love to team up. We can create our own guild and even build a space city, or you know, play some dungeons together on Untamed Isles. Make sure you leave a like rating and also subscribe so you can see more content like this. And with that being said, I'll see you guys in the next video.